put Ma in HHN. If I don't see a scare actress running around as Ma saying, "Are you down to clown?" I am going to lose my mind.
I know, this is not a bit. You
No,
guys need
it's
to
not a bit.
understand this is not a bit. Sup, Park Peeps? I'm Demi from Magical Hijinx.
And I'm entertainment journalist Joey Nolfi, strapping in for the Park Peeps Podcast, the ultimate theme park show where unhinged passion, travel expertise, and coaster nerd chaos collide. And this week we're diving into some theme park hot topics and also giving our HHN 35 hype lists.
So buckle up and pull up on that yellow strap as we dispatch for Season 2 of
the Park Peeps Podcast.
Hello, Park Peeps, and welcome back to another episode.
Demi, you're gonna wake the little baby.
Joey, what baby? You're not holding anything.
I know, it's called gentle parenting. I am gently immersing myself into the world of real Figment parenting by scientifically studying and mimicking the cradling motions of a mommy to prepare for baby Figment in 2027.
Best of luck with that, Joseph. And I promise that what Joey just said will make sense today as we go through a few hot topics when it comes to theme park news in just a bit. Before we reveal our HHN 35 hype list, now that we have all 10 houses and scare zones announced for this year's event. So,
Oh, I'm so excited. But before we do that, make sure you tell us in the comments which HHN 35 houses are you most excited for, and tell us what you think about our list. Make sure you are subscribed to the Park Peeps Podcast so you know every drop of new content. Make sure you're following us at Park Peeps Pod on social, and also make sure you've given us the highest possible rating on your podcast platform of choice.
First order of business. Joey, put the bebe down.
Oh, okay.
Time to clock in. We do indeed have a 2-minute tea time.
Woo, that's right. To kick off our lightning round of theme park hot topics, our dear friend Jeremy AKA Jerendelle has submitted his official review of the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift controlled spinning multi-launch roller coaster that is still in technical rehearsal before opening at Universal Studios Hollywood later this year. Jeremy was able to grab I was going to say a ride, but several rides, knowing our little coaster diva out there. He was able to grab several rides last weekend, and he has some thoughts.
Listen, peeps, we got to talk. Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift. I was lucky enough to get to experience it yesterday 4 times. It's in technical rehearsals right now, so maybe it could be open, maybe not. I took a risk, I took a chance, went, and it paid off. And here's the thing. I went into the Fast and the Furious thinking that I was going to enjoy it. Thinking, this is going to be fun. It's going to be fine. I'm not going to love it. It's not going to be my least favorite. It's going to be very middle of the road. Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift is a marvel. It is brilliant. And I have so much more to say on it, which hopefully we'll get to discuss at some point. But first of all, people have said that have been on it, they feel that it rides slow. I don't know what ride they're riding, but the ride by no means rides slow. And at the beginning of the attraction, I think that it actually lends itself extremely well. And it has this dramatic build to the launch that is a little over 70 miles an hour into a 0G stall that has you spinning 360 degrees in a circle. It's really unbelievable. So I feel like the pacing on the ride is spectacular. And the interaction that you get to have with the other guests on the roller coaster is a high point that I didn't necessarily get to think about until I rode it and was turning around and looking at the people in the other car across from me. The use of terrain, the topography, the views that you get, the interaction with the queue, the trains themselves are some of the most beautiful trains I've ever seen. It's so comfortable, and I am blown away. I'm truly blown away. I miss the roller coaster already. I can't wait to get back to get to ride it more and get to ride it again. But Universal Studios Hollywood has a major hit on their hands, and I think that it is drastically going to change the path of Universal Studios Hollywood and bring in a whole new demographic of people that maybe may not have come to the park, but absolutely and most certainly will now that Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift is here. And hopefully it will be opening very, very soon. But I'm so glad I got to be there. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. So much more to say, so many more rides to get. And I can't wait to get to share all of that with you and then some, hopefully very, very soon. All right. But for now, peep, peep, bye-bye. Gotta go. Bye.
And this is fitting since track is now complete on the Orlando version of the coaster. I believe as of recording today, we're recording Monday, August 3rd. I believe the last piece of track was put in place either Sunday or overnight tonight. So all kind of photos are circulating online now of the completed circuit, which it has its own unique layout and, of course, sits in the plot of land formerly occupied by Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which actually had its last day of operation on August 17th, 2025, less than 1 year ago.
Isn't that crazy?
It is wild. They finished this ride's full track circuit in about 100 days, which
I can't believe it.
It's absolutely insane. I cannot believe that they built a coaster that quickly, and a coaster of this scale and how technologically advanced it is. The layout, I have to admit, the layout in Orlando does not look as exciting. It really doesn't to me. There's like that very weird mid-course brake run. The giant tower inversion looks pretty cool. It looks like you're going to get some cool airtime on that.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll let Jeremy's words speak for themselves on the Hollywood version, though.
I mean, I do love, though, that, you know, even though it's like sort of the same ride, they made it slightly different just to give some more of an opportunity to be like, well, now I need to go ride both of them.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, you're seeing it's the same ride system, but done two very different ways. So
right.
I think that Hollywood obviously had to take advantage of the terrain because it's on a hill. So that coaster is much more of a terrain hugger, whereas this one in Orlando is a little bit more, I don't want to say flat because there's a lot of peaks and valleys, but they had to fit it in a very different flat space. So at least visually it looks cool. The spike that's going out towards City Walk and some of the inversions look absolutely amazing. It also perfectly frames the stage in the plaza area now with the hills over it. And somebody posted a picture and it's like it's perfectly symmetrical now on both sides with the trees and the hills going over it. And so it looks like a very picturesque location. So more tea on that hopefully to come soon when Universal finally makes an announcement, because they still have not given a formal announcement as to what to expect from this coaster other than its name. So more news to come on that. But before we get to our HHN hype list, we have 2.5 more hot topics on the docket, because first, Demi wanted to give a little shout out to Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
All right. It's just a small one because I saw the announcement, because there was a ride that I used to love when I was a kid that I went there, and it's called it was in the Ireland section, and at one point it was a 3D ride, and then they changed it to like almost like a VR version of it, and it wasn't as good, and then they got rid of it completely. But they did say that because they've been using that whole area as Hollow Scream queue, but they're not building a house there this year because they are going to put back the is it the Return to Corkscrew?
Corkscrew Hill. And then it was Europe in the Air, and now it's Corkscrew Hill again.
Corkscrew Hill. Well, I've only experienced it as Corkscrew Hill, and I'm really excited about that. And I think the park, having been there since they got rid of Dark Castle and made a Dark Coaster, you know, the park was becoming a complete coaster park, which I thought, you know, the big difference between Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and a lot of other smaller parks was that it wasn't. And I'm glad that they're putting something back there, because when I was a kid and I went to Busch Gardens, I didn't ride coasters. I was a fraidy cat. So that was when I rode a lot, and I'm really glad they're going to bring something like that back.
Yeah, I do think that park needs a more well-rounded attraction offerings, as I think SeaWorld does as well. And I think they're sort of leaning into that now with the dark rides that SeaWorld is getting and now that Busch Gardens is getting. So I do applaud that it's not just another coaster.
I just realized, Joey.
Yes?
We forgot to write something down on our little bullet list.
What did we forget to write down?
Project Purple.
Oh, yes, Bakunawa.
Is that how you say it? Because I wasn't going to be the one to say it.
Bakunawa. It sounds like it's a very funky little name. Yes, we should absolutely mention that because we did a whole episode on it. So yes, Six Flags Great Adventure has announced Bakunawa is the official name of Project Purple, the coaster replacing the Great King of Ka. Even though it's not quite in the exact same plot of land, it's basically in the same sort of vista view area when you enter the park. So this coaster is going to pretty much everything that we expected. It launches out of this. It's a mock spinning coaster. Launch out of the station, go upside down for a stall, launch to 100 miles per hour while you're upside down in the stall. right
And
side
spinning.
up and spinning, and then go up I believe it's 380 feet into a spinning overbanked spike, and then you do the whole thing backwards. And
Yeah.
Demi, as you said, I just do think this ride was designed to make us perish, sadly.
I do. Like, here's my thing. I love a coaster. I'm not a spinny person. And I'm fine on, like, Cosmic Rewind because it's not that bad.
It's controlled, too.
And it's controlled. This is not. Like, I feel like I don't know. Like, if I get like that spin I got that one time on like Curse of the Werewolf, and then but also upside down and so high in the air, I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually physically handle this.
I think
coaster. It might be a one and done for me. I'm hoping it's not, but
it's going to be a lot. There's no sugarcoating it. It is going to be a lot. However, I do think there's so many people that are actually, I think, contrary to what you're saying, there's a lot of nerdy coaster enthusiasts that are underhyping this, I think, that are like, oh, this looks so lame. And I'm like, do you have eyes? This is so insanely, this is going to be, I think, one of the most intense coasters on the face of planet Earth, because the front row, which will turn into the back row on the return trip, when you get whipped over the top of that and go down nearly vertical, like that's different than going up and over like on Top Thrill 2 or King Ka. I mean, that it combined with the spinning motion, that is going to provide for some of the most insane feelings that I think anybody has ever experienced on a coaster. And I also like the theme too, the sea monster theme. It's themed to, I believe it's a Filipino legend of a dragon that eats the moon.
Right, but then that's really quickly, since you brought that up.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
What it doesn't, or I mean, unless they're like redoing that whole section of the park or whatever. It's like we have Superman like not far from
Superman,
it. We have Medusa on the other side. It's like why are we? Can we just come up with a theme?
Well, Medusa fits with that section of the park because the mine train is right next to it, so it's like Western-y kind of themed over there by Medusa.
But Medusa's not Western themed.
Well, in their lore, she is, because she. So they rethemed it. Actually, it's no longer like the Grecian. It's now a Western town, and they have reformatted the legend of Medusa to actually be instead of like snakes, like Mediterranean style snakes. It's like rattlesnakes, and it's like a gold mining kind of thing now. So they sort of remixed. I actually
never knew that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, they remixed the lore to actually be a Western lore. So in their world. Not saying it's right, but their world, it fits. But then if you travel over to the boardwalk section,
Superman.
It's Superman. And I'm like, what is Superman going on? Like, what are we doing here? But we've got the Filipino beach with Bakunawa. We've got the traditional New York beach with the New Jersey boardwalk. And then we got Superman. So they have to rethink Superman at some point.
New Jersey beach. New Jersey port.
Oh, yeah.
New Jersey people will come for you.
That's what I meant. I meant that, not New York, New Jersey. But it's just
very
wild.
Different beaches, actually, believe it or not.
Wild vibes all around. But quickly, let's get through our next two. The reason that we did our cold open the way that we did today, the Disney World official Instagram account stoked much speculation last week after it commented on a WDW annual pass holders Instagram account post showing the name Gertie stitched onto a Mickey ears hat in front of the famed dinosaur at Hollywood Studios. The caption of the post read, "Pass holder baby announcements be like ... And then the Walt Disney World official account had the nerve to mess up my day. The nerve, the gall, and the gumption to mess up my entire weekend by commenting, "Baby Figment arriving 2027 with a baby bottle emoji and a blue heart." Demi, what does it mean?
It means that you, Joey, are expecting.
You're expecting
an expecting mother.
I am, after months and months and months of joking that I am a Figment parent. I actually have partnered with the Walt Disney World Instagram account to announce my pregnancy with Figment baby. So
it was literally the first thing I said to Joey, "You're expecting."
So many people texted me and they were like, "You're with child," and I was like, "Yes, I am." But it's very rare, I think, for Disney to do this.
Rare, but not unheard of.
Not unheard of, not unprecedented, but rare. And I think that they, given the fact, and this transitions into our next topic of D23, I do believe that we are getting some sort of big Figment announcement at D23 because they know very well what they were doing with that comment. They would not have made that comment if we weren't getting an announcement. There has to be something. And that coupled with the fact that Figment is on the poster for the Experiences panel happening at D23 on August 15th. It has they wouldn't put Figment on the poster if it wasn't.
But to your point, I have seen them do things like this before where they're kind of like whoever's just running the social media that day just kind of like puts out a random thing. So I don't want you to get your hopes up. That's kind of where I'm at with you. I'm hopeful that there's going to be an actual Figment news, but I don't want you to get your hopes up because I don't want you to be disappointed because that will crush me seeing you upset.
If this was just, okay, trust and believe, announcement, heard it here first. Obviously, I will be covering D23 for work, and I will be in that room for the Experiences panel, and you can bet that I am wearing every single piece of Figment merch that I have, and I will be doing a reaction shot, whether it's good or bad news, and it will be hilarious either way, because if it's bad news and I am literally... I'm going to do that meme where I'm literally sitting in the stands and everybody's filing out, and I'm going to be like, but she didn't play the Figment announcement yet. And
you should wear the egg slicer as like a necklace.
Hell yeah, Demi. You just gave me the best idea ever. Unless they count it as a weapon for the Honda Center.
I don't
know. But
it's
plastic. It's plastic. It's not actually razors. So yeah, I could wear it as a necklace. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does bring us to D23 very quickly before we get into HHN Hype List, which is coming, our favorite time of the year. I'm so excited. But the biannual convention, D23, starts August 14th to 16th in Anaheim, right next to Disneyland, and many expect there to be updates on a variety of projects, including Villains Land and Piston Peak at Magic Kingdom, more in-depth concept art and attraction details for Tropical Americas at Animal Kingdom, perhaps an update on the Abu Dhabi Disney project, a new nighttime show for Disneyland, potential Space Mountain refurbishments at the Magic Kingdom, and more. So, Demi, what is one thing, quickly, that you would like to see from D23 this year?
I would like them to not announce any type of thing happening to Space Mountain because she's perfect and old and I don't want her to change. And I don't care. Because Omega, yeah, fine,
Demi,
change
the
Omega.
question was about
Alpha?
D23, not me.
I can't. Well, and I will say, listen, Omega, she's rough side. Alpha, I love her, and I don't want them to touch her. And I don't, it's like when people ask me all the time, like, oh, what's your favorite Space Mountain? It's like, they're all different. Like, you can't compare them because they're all, like, completely different coasters. And I love our original Space Mountain because it feels classic and old, and I don't want them to take it away.
Okay, Demi, of all the things, I came around to Carousel of Progress. I was like, okay, yeah, we need it. This one, I didn't even hesitate. When the rumors started coming, I was like, yes, of course. Like, why would we not? It just, the capacity is bad. Oh. It's aging. They're going to have to do something with it. And it's just, the vehicle design is just bad. They've got two tracks. But the thing
is, if you just make it another coaster like over in Disneyland, like, I'm sorry. As much as I like the Disneyland Space Mountain, it feels just like a coaster. It doesn't feel like Space Mountain.
But I think it's in Disney's best interest to me is like, that's a feeling and a something that is very singular. Whereas I think that they are unfortunately in the business of being palatable for a lot of people. And while a lot of people ride Space Mountain it's almost like people ride Space Mountain now out of obligation, I think, instead of actually enjoying the experience as the coaster itself. Now, it does have the reputation. There's so many. I do too. No, listen, I do too. But that's what I'm saying. I think it's a singular thing where we have grown affection toward it. However, I do think Disney has to think about younger generations who are going to come up needing their thing to sort of be attached to. And Space Mountain is nearing the end of, I think, what it has been 40, 50 years of this exact same system. And it's kind of impractical. You've got two coasters in one building, whereas you could just have one massive coaster with a longer train, higher rider throughput, and more advanced effects. Leave the queue the same, leave the exterior the same, you leave that music in there, you leave that star tunnel in there. But I do think, unfortunately, the ride itself does need to be brought into this century. And I do also think We are seeing a blueprint, not the exterior, but the interior, because the rumors are that the Space Mountain at Tokyo Disney is now going to include a tilt track and a launch upward. I think that we're going to be seeing something along those lines.
I know. That was the closest to our Space Mountain was the Tokyo one, and I got to ride it right before they closed it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, back in 2024. And, oh, man, I understand your point. I just think that it is such a classic attraction. I understand the capacity maybe isn't the greatest, but that design is it's so iconic and it's so fun and it just feels like Disney. You know, that's a Disney World original attraction too. We don't have many. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It didn't open with...
No, it didn't open with the park, but it originated in Disney World.
Oh, I thought you meant like original, like opening day attraction.
No,
I was like, oh no.
Not an opening day, but it originated in Disney World. We don't have many of those in Disney World, right? Everything started in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And it feels like, you know, it just feels like a piece of history that, you know, I if you want to like update the track or whatever, but I love the car. I don't want the train to change. I want to hear that wow, 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 wow sound.
Oh, I think that's the stuff that they need to leave. I think that they will find ways to work that in. However, I do also think it's like an accessibility thing. Like, I don't know that everybody can fit into, you know, the Space Mountain cars. And I think that they just, you kind of got to update.
So then, like, let's make one side more accessible and leave Alpha alone. Please. I know, listen, I hate getting in and out of that vehicle. I get it. But we don't have Matterhorn, you know? Like, so this is like,
true.
This is like our Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Imagine if they said we're going to touch Matterhorn. Do you know how everyone would lose their absolute mind?
Okay, hear me out.
Oh, God.
I think it's coming at some point, Demi, because that coaster you cannot retrack that. Matterhorn, it's impossible to retrack it because the track is like so deeply incorporated into the actual structure of the mountain. There is going to be, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when Disney makes the determination that it doesn't make sense to maintain the Matterhorn anymore. And they are going to close it someday. It's coming. It's a 65-year-old attraction. And
right, but the Cyclone's over 100 years old and she's still running.
Yes, but the Cyclone's track is not deeply embedded into the side of a mountain. And I do think that it's, you know, that structure is 60-something years old, and it's there. I'm not saying it's coming tomorrow.
They could completely tear it down and just build a new one.
That's what I think they will do.
Yeah, I don't think they would want to like completely not have a Matterhorn anymore.
Right.
I think it's so iconic to Disneyland.
Yes.
But again, like, you know,
it's coming.
Maybe. But and I just like that bobsled style seating. I think it's just fun. I love when you walk down the tunnel in the queue and that video looks like it's from the 80s.
Yeah, I do. I love it. I love it.
Why can't we just have a couple of things that just stay like historic?
Demi, I like your idea of just leaving one side.
leave one side for me, and then you guys can enjoy the more like newer side. I don't care. Have it. I won't even need to ride it. I won't even take up spot. I will stay on Alpha.
Space Mountain, this is your moment. Have it. Okay.
It's me and my husband's ride too. Yeah. So it's just like it's a sore one for me. But I mean, listen, in terms of what I want from D23, just give me a villains update already, please.
I think we'll get something.
You know what I want to know? Like, you don't even need to give me a date yet. Like, I won't even be that greedy. Give me a concept. Give me a clear concept of what we should be expecting and the tone. Because with all of the different rumors going back and forth, like, I just want to hear it from the man himself.
There's no
it's going on.
Way that report, I think it was The Wrap that published that the Emperor's New Groove Coast, that is not happening. There is no way. And I think that we will, what I'm predicting because this was going to be my choice too, Villains Land, and then I also would like to see a new country announced for Epcot. I believe
I would love that, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
I think it could. I think it very well could. But I am predicting that for Villains Land, I think the only thing that we will get is maybe some more pictures of like the research and the architectural stuff that they did at Destination last year. But I do believe that we will get like what we got for Piston Peak 2 years ago. I think we'll get a more definitive general overview showing us where different things are. It's not going to be final concept art, but I think it's going to be here's the layout, here's where confirmation, 2 attractions. Because if you look at bioreconstruct images of Magic Kingdom from the air, you can kind of see where a show building in the upper right-hand corner would be outlined, the coaster apparently to the left, and that sort of lake town area in the middle. I think we'll get something like that, where it's not going to be concrete, but it's going to be here's the overall layout. It's not just blue sky concept art. So
you know what I just realized?
What?
Magic Kingdom's going to feel like huge when that happens.
Oh, so big.
Like,
I mean, it's almost
like Disneyland.
too big. It's almost too big. Like,
well, I mean, it's funny because like in Disneyland, you go past Big Thunder and then you're in Galaxy's Edge. And
I
then
know.
It's you go past Big Thunder, you're going to be in Villain's Land. Like so different things, but like it feels like I feel like Disneyland is huge, and I feel like it's massive, right? And I feel like Magic didn't need to be that big because obviously you have more room in other parks, right? So the fact that this is actually happening here and it's just making the land bigger, I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
It's going to be overwhelming. I think the Magic Kingdom is going to be huge, but I think it's much needed. Because
you have to understand too, it's like getting to Magic Kingdom is already overwhelming. So then once you're in there, like for it to be even bigger, like oh my gosh, I'm a little stressed.
It's going to be pretty big, but I think it's going to be well worth the wait. It is. But you know what? I'm not fine, Demi, because these are the days that are the slowest for me. Because
I know,
as of today recording, or as of episode release day, it is August 4th. If you are listening to this episode on opening day, on release day, and that means we have 24 days.
Oh my God.
Until I just got chills until Halloween Horror Nights 35 at Universal Studios Florida, and then it of course kicks off September 3rd at Universal Studios Hollywood.
And guess what?
What?
Your girl's going to Hollywood for the first time. I'm so excited.
That's going to be a key, and
I'm hoping I can ride Fast and Furious too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
Depending on what's going to happen then.
By that point, I think you'll definitely be able to. And I could not be more excited. But ghosts, goblins, ghoulies, and girlies, it is time to step into the fog. Don't forget your eye drops and earplugs because we're not 25 anymore, because we officially have all 10 houses, scare zones, shows, and more announced for Halloween Horror Nights 35. And we are going to go through and break down our individual HHN hype lists and give you perspective on what to expect from this year's event at Universal Studios Florida specifically.
If you are listening and you are 25 or under, thanks for being here. You can do whatever you want. You have the gift of youth.
You got your whole life ahead of you. You got 10 years before Space Mountain will be a horror.
While we're going to rank our HHN hype list from 10 to 1 for the Orlando version of the event, we won't be ranking the scare zones, but those have also been confirmed. In Orlando, we are getting this year Downtown Clowntown with
Baby Girl back
and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Wow.
Our next scare zone is Fort Nightmares, based off of the game Fortnite. And then we have Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. And then we have Sideshow of Decay.
So the only comment that I have, like Infernal Carnival of Nightmares, great. Sideshow of Decay, gonna be amazing. I like that they're doing the umbrella of like Clowns Carnival, and the whole event seems to be united under that theme this year. However, Downtown Clowntown, I raise Universal once again. How dare you tease us with something related to Ma and then not put Ma in HHN? If I don't see a scare actress running around as Ma saying, "Are you down to clown?" I am going to lose my mind, because not only did they tease us with Ma on the Terror Tram 2 years ago when they played clips of Ma before we got off the bus or the tram, and Ma was not there to chase us. Downtown Clowntown, down to clown, Blumhouse, get Ma in there. Get Ma in there.
I can't believe they didn't have her in the Blumhouse.
I am so still like genuinely annoyed.
I know this is not a bit. You
No,
guys
it's
need to
not a bit.
understand This is not a bit.
It's really not. I was with my friend Lauren, and I was like hitting her when they were playing clips of, I was like, Lauren, I was like, she's gonna chase us. Ma's gonna chase us. I had my phone out and ready. I was like, oh my God, and she wasn't there. And all I could say as the scare actors are chasing us as we got up the tram, I was like, I just had a grimace on my face, and I was like, you're not Ma. I was like, where's Ma? But I mean, people had a lot of opinions on Fortnitemares too, which I'm like, it's a small, tiny part of it.
Can I say something really quick? Because last year we had Five Nights at Freddy's, which brought in a lot of younger people to this event, which is suggested for 13 and up, right? 13 and up?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And Fortnite, that's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, that they're like kind of like going toward this younger audience again.
But it didn't seem overrun or anything last year, and I don't think that one scare zone is going to do that. And if you look, this scare zone is actually pretty small. It's I believe it's where Cat Lady of Crooked Lane was last year, and that one felt like more expansive than I think this one is going to feel. However, what I do find interesting is that this one is going to, in the language, they said that this scare zone is going to change, just like the landscapes in the game do. And I believe there was a scare zone in, I believe it was 2011. Hold on, let me look up the name of what this scare zone was, because there was a scare zone that employed a very interesting technique in 2011. What was it called? Night Maze. And Night Maze featured scare actors who were dressed all in black, and they were standing next to fences that had black tarps over them. But when people would walk through, they would wait maybe a few minutes, and then they would pick up and change the setup of the fences so that the scare zone changed shape every single time you would come back and go through it.
Right.
So I think that is actually a really interesting technique that I hope we will see them do here. I don't think they would say the language of the scare zone shifting if they didn't plan to do something like that. And they have done it previously. So I think that could be really interesting.
Right. Okay.
You're just like, yeah, right. Stay off my lawn. Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, stay off my lawn, little children.
Honestly, people have like I'm never gonna like yuck on someone's joy. That's not the phrase.
Yuck on someone's joy? That's coming to Halloween Horror Nights 36, Yuck on Someone's Joy, a Yuletide haunted house.
Listen, just like how I get that not everyone loved my WWE house last year. It's just a scare zone that I don't get, but a lot of people are excited about, and I'm really happy for you all that are excited about it.
Well, yes, but just like Kiki Palmer said, sorry to this man. I don't know this man.
I don't know who this man is.
Sorry to these mayors, but I don't know these mayors. And you can Fortnite them all that you want.
Here's my thing. Like, I always do my best to, like, anything that's been announced that is already a platform, like something that exists, I always try to, like, watch it or whatever it is. I just cannot play Fortnite. I don't do first-person shooter games. I'm not good at them. I didn't grow up with them. I'm not good at them, and I don't play them. So I just don't even know how to connect with it.
Yeah.
So that's just a me thing. And there's going to be other people that will, and that's fine.
And there's going to be a lot for them to do. So let's move on to our hype list.
Okay.
And the way that we're going to do this is we'll just go... We're not going to do like each read our list from 10 to 1. We'll go from 10. We'll both read our number 10s, and then 9 and both read our number 9s. And each time a house is mentioned for the first time, I will read a very brief official synopsis for each house. So,
great.
Demi, and we're going to kind of, if you don't know the houses, stay tuned and you'll learn all the houses that are announced this year, because we will be telling you what these houses will entail as we get through them on our list. So, kicking us off, Demi, what is your number 10 least anticipated of HHN 35?
I have to say, I just want to say this really quick. My 10, 9, and 8, it was a little bit of a toss-up, because because these are original houses, which I normally love, but they've kind of all felt like very generic to the point where they almost felt like Howl-O-Scream houses, which are great for Howl-O-Scream, but was surprising for an HHN. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad once you go in there. It just was surprising of how generic the topics were. So for my number 10, I chose Cybergoria.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so, and I will say, and no, mine was close enough. I have this one at number 9, so we can just discuss this one now. Now, Cybergoria, which is going to be in the Fast and Furious location, also RIP to that attraction, which will no longer be open.
I know. I knew the last time I was at Universal, I was like, I have to say goodbye. I do not trust this to stay open because they close it always for Halloween Horror Nights anyway. So why would they?
There's no point in reopening it. Yeah. No. So the description for this one is
wait.
What?
Maybe because the track got done already too. Maybe they also decided to just not open it because maybe the coaster might be done sooner than they expected.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that coaster. I think we're going to see that coaster open by, I would say, February.
Summer. Okay.
Yeah, February, March. Okay. I think that coaster is going to be open. Okay. So, I mean, once the track's finished, pretty much all they have to do is there's like some theming and technical stuff.
They should do it like right after Mardi Gras so that they have a reason for people to go.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I think that would be, or time it to Mardi Gras, honestly. I think they could. I mean, it's August.
They could, but I think because like that section, like between like that May, they have like, it's like butterbeer season, which is not like a real thing. You know, they try to make it a thing, but it's just like extra
a DUI, drunk driving on a Fast and Furious coaster.
I think if they did like a late April release, that would bring a lot more people or early May, because then all of the spring break crowds are kind of gone. And yeah.
I think that it's opening within the first 4 or 5 months of the year, I would think.
Yeah,
but,
Anyway,
so Cybergoria, the synopsis is: awaken thousands of years in the future in this haunted house and a brave, cold world driven by machines with a singular goal to make you live forever, even if it kills you. So, yeah.
I'm not a sci-fi person either. I don't necessarily find them either that scary even, but
same.
I'm not a sci-fi person in general, so it's just not. It's not my cup of tea.
Same. I agree. I think and now there have been plenty of houses that I didn't think I was going to necessarily like too much, and then ended up being my favorites of the year. I mean, case in point, something that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but Insidious, The Further, which ended up being my favorite house of the year.
It's one of my favorite houses of all time, and I don't like those movies.
Same. So, I mean, this could very well surprise us. And let's get this out of the way first and say that I think it is very difficult to come by something at Horror Nights where you're like, that's bad. Yeah. And I don't think that any of these are going to be bad. I just am not excited necessarily. I think this is the first year since I've been attending regularly that I like kind of look at the whole lineup and I'm just kind of like, And however, I know that things are going to blow me out of the water here, as they do every single year. But Cybergoria,
we got art back.
We got art back, Baby Girl.
We wished that into existence.
We did. Baby Girl's coming back, and Baby Girl came back just for us, I'm convinced. Now, can't wait to sit on the stairs of the
of
New York facades with you, Demi, and chase our dreams over to little Baby Girl. Yes. And have a gay old time.
So what is your number 10, though?
So my number 10 is, well, I just want to finish about Cybergoria really quickly. No, it's okay. I think that Cybergoria represents my problem with some of the originals this year is I think that, like you said, they do sort of represent an oft-tread horror theme. So cyborgs and humans and aliens and I'm just like, honestly too, let's be serious, clowns. Like it all just feels a little generic. And now like I said, some of the pictures that have been coming out of the sets that are set up and everything, it's exceeding my expectations. So, but my number 10 is actually, wait, and Cybergoria too, they did release some images that do seem kind of interesting. There was a presentation where they gave, and somebody had, I believe it was it Attractions Magazine or some theme park publication had pictures of a presentation that I believe Laura Sauls was giving somewhere, and they did have some imagery from Cybergoria. And if they lean into the sort of, I do like a more corporate-y feeling horror, bio horror kind of thing, such as like The Substance or Resident Evil, things like that. If it leans into that, I could be down for this. But yeah, unfortunately, Cybergoria for now is number 9 for me. But my number 10, obviously, you should know because how I felt about season 5 of this show, but Stranger Things 5, I just
wow, it's that low for you.
I could not give less of a bleep about Stranger Things 5. This is one that I admittedly, sorry to my Universal peeps, I love you down, but Stranger Things, I hated season 5 of Stranger Things. I thought it was awful. And the Stranger Things 4 house, I remember I
loved it.
I did that before I watched the show. So
you didn't.
It was okay. Like, I remember thinking that the sets were pretty cool. I liked the scene where you're walking down the hall in 11 and the monster thing were coming out from both sides. And I don't remember what it's called. That show's already purged from my brain because season 5 was so bad. And then the room where they were playing the guitar with that was a cool room.
I love that room.
Yeah. But I mean, Stranger Things 5 the story is join the Hawkins gang for one last adventure, try to survive an army of Demogorgons, face the Mind Flayer, and defeat Vecna once and for all in this haunted house. So
well, can I just say, so I mean, it's so hard because I really loved Stranger Things, and season 5 was incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
And if you liked it, I'm so happy you liked it. I just didn't. And even though I feel sad that I was so disappointed by the end, I did love the house for 4 so much that it's a lot higher on my list in terms of just enjoyment. Maybe I'll like it more. Maybe I'll like season 5 more if I just see it through a house perspective, right? Like, I again, not it. Maybe you also have to remember, I personally think season 4 of Stranger Things was phenomenal.
Me too.
I think it's probably my favorite season.
Oh, I love 4.
I've watched it a few times, and so I don't know. I did put a little higher than you. I didn't put it last, even though you're like my husband, where it's like with Game of Thrones. Like when Game of Thrones ended, we both like completely forgot about the show completely because we hated the ending so much. It's like completely dead to us. But because I know what they have done within these houses, and I expect some really great things, I think it's a little higher for me. It's not high, but it's higher. Than
Where is it? Just because we spoke about it at length, what do you?
It is my 10, 9, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7. It is my number 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that they probably have some sort of obligation to do the 5th one. It doesn't necessarily seem like something that is inspired. But I was cracking up when you were talking because I just thought the only room that is going to be in Stranger Things 5 house is the real horror of the entire series. You're just going to be walking through the coming out scene. That is it. And that is the only room in this show.
It was like the first thing I said. The whole town is there listening to you coming out. Like, you don't even know half the people, and you have to come out to all of them. That's the horror.
That's the whole. You walk in, and then you just walk through that, and you cringe at that acting, and then you walk out, and that's the haunted house. Stranger Things 5, yay!
I legit. That was legit the first thing I said when they announced this house.
Yep.
Because it's so unfortunate too. They could have made such a really great mother-son scene, even with the brother, but the whole town was there.
I actually thought it was a really touching scene. I'm not gonna lie.
The whole town was there.
The whole town. You sound like Sally Field and Mrs. Doubtfire. The whole town. The whole town. Oh,
Help
gosh.
is on the way, dear.
Help is on the way. What the hell is his name? Will. Help is on the way, Will. All right. Well, Stranger Things 5, R.I.P. I'm not excited for you, but hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised. Like, I think that they could do a really cool, something very big in terms of scale, because the other Stranger Things houses felt kind of narrow to me, but this one could be very big in scale.
It could be bigger in scale than the finale scene.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe so. All right. Well, my
what's your number
9,
Demi?
is Madlands Caged Cannibals. And I'm going to explain why. I know you're a little shocked, but here's why. For some reason, and I am not the only one that clocked this, for some reason, this is kind of feeling like the year of that caged prisoner year. You didn't attend this year.
That
year.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And it was that caged prisoner house in the front of the park. And I don't want to say it was bad because I don't believe any HHN house was bad. But if I were to ever say what is the worst house I ever walked through at HHN, it would be that one. And I just fear that it's going to just be that where it's just like people kind of just coming at you from cages, which I don't think is that exciting, especially because you know that there's going to be people in cages trying to come at you.
I mean, well, it's the titular role, Demi. Caged cannibals.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, before we get into this one much, much later on this episode, the synopsis for Madeline's Caged Cannibals is: a defunct zoo is now the deadly domain of warring cannibal factions that have taken their animal instincts to extremes. They're territorial, they're hungry, and your lunch. So we will come back to this one later because I'm actually
surprised that it's higher on your list.
I'm very excited for this one, and I will explain why maybe later. A little tease, because I do have some good feelings about that one. So that one's much higher on my list. But we already covered my number 9, which is Cybergoria. So we'll go to number 8. My number 8, unfortunately, is Hellraiser. I am optimistic because Kelly Malik is the director of this house, and I believe she did. I don't think she was the main director, but I believe she worked on the Monstrous House in 2024, the Latin America Monsters House, and that house was just, oh my God, was that house beautiful, and it really stayed with me. There's certain houses that, and you know which one I'm going to say last year stayed with me. That Grave of Flesh really got into my brain, but Monstrous really embedded itself in my brain in 2024. So I am optimistic about that. However, I just have no connection to the Hellraiser IP. I know that usually if I don't have a connection to an IP, I can at least look at something and say, okay, that is creepy. The Pinhead doesn't scare me, and it just kind of looks silly. And I know that there are some interesting sort of, when was this, 80s, 90s kind of horror vibes, lo-fi vibes that I think the exterior of the house, at least in Hollywood, where you can see the exterior of the house right now, does kind of give that. But overall, I just don't have an emotional connection to this intellectual property, and I might have to watch some of the movies beforehand. So this might be more of a me thing, as I just don't have too much of a familiarity with it. But have you seen the movie?
I haven't seen them in a really long. I've seen the first one, and I haven't seen it in a really long time. So I'm going to rewatch it soon to prepare. I watched it. I shouldn't say I watched it for the first time too long ago. I think I watched it maybe. Within the last 10 years, and I'm a horror person. Like I consistently watch horror movies as like kind of the only thing I really watch, horror movies and comedies. And I just don't really remember much. And that to me just kind of like says a lot already. Yeah. So I will go back and watch it. I did make this my number 7.
Oh, okay. So we're close.
We're close on that one, but that's also because I also don't have a connection. I know the people that love this are so hype.
Fanatic about it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we should try to have a movie night together to watch it.
I think we should. We should both decide to watch it. Maybe we should do that for some of these, because I definitely need to watch Hellraiser, and I definitely need to watch Evil Dead Burn.
Well, it's still in the theaters.
I think it'll come to it's definitely going to come to rental before, because it really tanked in theaters. So I think it's definitely going to come to streaming or rental within the next 2 weeks. But so we'll have to watch that, and I think we'll have to watch Hellraiser for sure. So
we've watched everything else. We've seen anything else that is a watchable thing. We've seen it.
Same. Yeah.
So
what's your number 8 then?
My number 8 is Invasion Alien Abduction. And I'm going to explain why. Once again, this just feels really generic. This feels like something from Hollowscream. Again, it may not be, but if I see the aliens that they have been using for the last 2 to 3 years in this house, I'm going to lose my mind, because then I will know it was just because they had aliens in stock and decided to do an alien house and to save money. And I really hope it's not that. But I will point this out constantly. I first noticed it at City Walk. I noticed it in the tribute store last year. Honestly, I will be very happy to see them if they are there, but I don't think it's a budget thing. I don't know. I really actually Who knows? Maybe it could be. But I just think it's really funny when you see props being reused, which like I don't expect HHN to throw everything away and then never use the same things again. That's insane.
I think it's kind of fun sometimes.
I work in theater. Like that's just not a thing. You don't do that. And you should definitely utilize what you have, which is like when they did the Blumhouse Scare Zone. Like they already had that Blumhouse stuff from the Blumhouse house. So why not, right? But I think that I just think it's, again, a generic topic. So I don't really have much to go from it other than I hope they do a good job and make it an HHN version.
Yeah. So this is, and I'll say because it's so close, this one is not my H, this is my 6. And the synopsis is: make contact with horrors from worlds unknown in this haunted house where a ship full of greys, capital G, have torn apart a remote homestead in search of fresh test subjects. So I think there are two. They're coming for us. There are two things that make this higher on my list. Initially, I was going to put it at 9, but then I actually bumped it up to 6 because there are two things that make me super potentially optimistic about this. The description does indicate to us, and also the concept art, not the concept art, the poster for it, suggests that this is going to be set in a more rural, kind of westerny town situation.
And Hollow Scream literally does that exact
However, I think that Universal does that vibe extremely well, as we saw with Hatchet and Chains last year, which I thought the vibes of that house, it wasn't necessarily the scariest house, but they do spooky Western possession, demonic stuff very, very well. And the second thing that makes me optimistic about this is a potential, if they do this in the way that is more M. Night Shyamalan Signs aliens and not Little Green Men kind of horror camp, which is what I think you're describing.
Well, that's what I've seen.
Right. I think that if they do the former and they do the more dramatic M. Night Shyamalan Signs, kind of creepy, and the aliens don't look necessarily monstrous and they look more humanesque but not campy humanesque, this will scare me, because aliens truly are my worst realistic fear.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Aliens are my worst realistic fear. And
you know what's so funny that you mentioned Signs? What? I used to watch that when I should not have been watching it because it was on like all the time.
Same.
But then I watched Scary Movie 3 way more in my life that I actually don't remember which is Signs and which is Scary Movie 3.
That's so funny.
Their fingers, right?
That is so funny. Oh my God. I love that. Actually, yeah, you know what? Give me a whole house full of that. I'm on board. I'm fully on board. But yeah, I mean, I think if you combine if they take it the more serious route, because none of these outside of, I mean, Jack and Oddfellow to a certain extent, I think could be a camp comedy house. But the only other one that really jumps out to me as potentially being a camp comedy house is
HR Blood and Guts.
HR Blood and Guts. But even the way that they're describing that doesn't necessarily seem like it's going to be that. So I fear that this one might be
the camp house.
Yeah.
I was thinking that when I was making my list, I was like, I guess that's the camp house this year. Unless they could surprise us. But that's my thing. If they are using the aliens. Yeah, they could. I don't necessarily think that. I mean, you did if you haven't read Joey's wonderful article on EW with Sharon Osbourne,
Sharon,
you're the one that spoke to her. But I feel like I mean, it's like that scene from the reality show when he was like, Bubbles, I'm the Prince of Darkness. I don't know if like they would sign off on it being a comedy.
I don't get that vibe, but I do think that there's going to be some like tongue-in-cheek nods to things, and I think it could have comedic elements for fans of his who know his life and career. But
we'll get to that. We will get to that.
The two houses are also apparently going to be very different on each coast. Like Universal said that in their announcement, that they actually have two different stories.
Great.
But so Invasion for me is number 6, but then number 7 for me is gonna be Ozzy, actually.
No!
Yeah.
Joey, are you serious?
I'm very serious, Demi. I know that you sometimes have the taste of like a Mississippi father of four who
What?
likes to go to a monster truck rally.
I
But
do not have that taste at all. What are you talking about?
I didn't say bad taste. I said that
what else would you think that would be my taste? Wrestling? Do you know that like wrestling is huge in New York City?
Yeah. And I think that I'm just teasing you, first of all, but I think that like Ozzy is like, to me, it's like a dude thing, you know? And I just don't come
No.
from that world. And I think that Ozzy screams. I just am not into that kind of
It's not a
music.
dude thing. A dude thing is like
When I say dude thing, I don't mean male exclusive. I mean it's like a dude thing.
no,
Like
I understand
Ozzy
like a
is
dude bro thing. And Ozzy is not dude bro people.
not dude bro. I mean, I just it screams very kind of macho culture to me.
It is not macho culture. That's the thing about Ozzy. He was like super like he wasn't as like aggressively feminine as like maybe like a Bowie, right? But like he did like, you know, he was in the era of like with the hair and people, and you know, he was controversial. Not like really like, yes, there's grown men obviously that love Ozzy, but I mean, he was the Prince of Darkness. He's literally the sound of metal. You know what I mean? Like
Sound of music.
Metal. Transcends, I think, many different cultures and many different.
I think you should do a video on this like you did for Wyatt Six last year. I think you should do one.
But I'm listen I will. Ozzy is very high for me, and I love Ozzy Osbourne very much in terms of his music and in terms of I was a huge fan of the show The Osbournes.
Me too.
I am the way that I did my Wyatt Six video was because I was so deeply invested in those stories and in the characters and the way that was being presented.
Yeah.
That
I love the Osbournes.
I love the Osbournes. I love them so much, but I don't feel like I am the person to educate, because also I don't really know exactly what the direction of the house fully is. Like they kind of mentioned it too, but
yours is a lot higher on this list.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll save it for that. But just briefly, that it's. The synopsis is, you're in Ozzy's world now, bow to the throne of the Prince of Darkness in this haunted house inspired by the twisted mind of one of rock and roll's greatest legends. So, yeah, different on both coasts, very different stories. One tells the story of his childhood. The other is you're going through dungeons, and it goes right over my head. But I just don't, it's again, and I feel like this one, whereas with Hellraiser, I feel like I will be able to watch the films and become familiar with the IP. It's next to impossible, I think, for me to embed myself so deeply into the lore and history of Ozzy within the time period that we have to get an appreciation for it, because you're talking pop culture impact, you're talking music, you're talking just celebrity interviews. It's not just something that you can get into and watch in a 2-hour setting.
You did not do the Weekend House, right?
I did it in Hollywood, not in Orlando.
I don't know if it was the same, but I knew nothing about the Weekend at the time. And that's one of the houses I think about all the time. I think it was really, really well done. And so it's exciting to see a different type of perspective of a house, that it's not coming from a movie, that you can make a house through a person and through music. I think is really exciting and different, especially considering everything else on this list is like you have like kind of generic topic original houses, and then you have heavy IP movie houses. So on top, besides Jack. So I think I'm very intrigued. I don't know what it'll feel like afterwards, but I'm just happy to kind of like rock out to Ozzy and go through a house and celebrate his incredible, incredible works. I don't want to say like his incredible life, but his work. I mean, he really did. He was so he said, what's the word I'm looking for? He set the precedent for so much music going forward, and without him, the sounds today would not be what they are. So I think it's a great tribute. And I heard that, and then I read from your article that on top of the family being on board, that they're all gonna come out to go through it.
Yeah. I wish it's just something that I think it depends on more knowledge and familiarity with it, and I just don't have that. So
right, but you may feel different once you go in.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's true. Because I did hear that the Wyatt Six house was much better on the West Coast and was better at not indoctrinating. I always use it indoctrinating. I heard that
it was not better. I saw the footage.
I heard for people who were not necessarily as familiar with this stuff that it did a much better job at explaining the backstory and introducing you to the characters, and it made more cohesive sense. Because the one in Orlando, I was like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense. So but what's your number 7?
My number 7 was Hellraizer.
Oh, okay. So we kind of talked about that one already.
And then I said my number 6 was I think we should we should watch it. We should press play at the same time
and do a live stories.
I think we should. Or whatever it is that we do. I think we should watch it at the same time at least, or try to watch it.
Let's do that. Why don't we do I'm speaking out loud right now, listeners. This is not set in stone. I'm proposing it right now. What if we did a Park Peeps watch-a-thon, and we're okay, Joey and Demi are going to watch Hellraiser now, and then we just give a few story updates as we're doing. Let's do that. I like that idea.
I would love to do that with you. Yeah.
Okay. So stay tuned for an announcement, Park Peeps. We just came up with it on that. That's improv. Yay. All right. So we're at 6. My 6 Invasion was mine,
and mine was Stranger Things 5.
Okay. So we're in the top 5 now. My 5. Okay. Now, don't take this a bad way. I'm still super excited about it. However, I do have reasons. Sinners is my number 5. Now,
wow.
I am excited about it. I really am. If we're talking purely based on, purely of the intellectual properties, obviously this one is the intellectual property that I think is the best and that I like the most of the things that I have seen. But there is a different intellectual property that actually skyrocketed from number 9 to number 2 on my list that I haven't mentioned yet. But and I will tell you why. But Sinners, to me, I think it's a brilliant film. I really loved it. I think that it's an important film. I cried at the musical scene because I was like, this is so important of showing how much Black culture thrived in the future, but the just essentially colonization of Black culture that happened in the South at this time. Also, at the same time, when they're showing you how much it did, you're thinking, with the death of one person in the South, how much that took away from the potential of the future. And that dance scene is gorgeous. And I think that hopefully they do something with that in this. I can imagine a big room with music and all. I think that would be so cool if they did that here. But I just think that...
No, that's totally valid.
I think that Sinners as a Horror Nights house, I'm just having trouble imagining the number of beats that you can hit in a haunted house based on the fact that the movie takes place primarily in one location. So I think, whereas I did say before, Universal does the sort of Southern Western atmosphere very well. Yeah. I think, just struggling and not doubting, but I'm struggling to see at this point where this house is going to take us. Super excited about the intellectual property. I think the film is fantastic. I love it. It's one of the best films ever. I just think for an HHN property, I am less inclined to see where they're going to go with it. I think that knowing Universal, knowing the quality of horrors and of Sinners and Ryan Coogler, this is going to be fantastic. So
yeah.
Because I'm putting it at number 5, I'm just being cautious about it. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm being reserved on my judgment for it.
I keep honestly I would say my top 4. I would say my 2, 3, and 4 have I've been kind of, as we've been talking, changing it because it's just kind of I can go either way for a lot of the things. And I will say the one thing with Sinners, as much as I loved the movie, I'm not a vampire person. And
Same.
as I love, it's funny because I love Buffy, but like I don't like vampire movies. I don't think that they're scary, or not that they're not scary, but like I'm just not a vampire girly. Like that there's specific vampire girlies out there, you know? And I'm just not one of them. And I think, you know, what they probably will lean heavy into is the makeup and the facial features of like when they look like vampires. And and you know, I don't know if that's scary enough for me, you know?
Yeah, it's a very different kind of vampire horror, I think, with this movie too. And it's not like the sort of, when you think of a traditional vampire movie that's very cold and very European. This is very American and very warm and very...
I think one of the strengths that the house will have is the music.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's why it keeps going higher on my list, is because I think aesthetically this might be the pretty house, you know, or maybe not the pretty house.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
But I think it might be that house that, like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like
it's going to be atmospheric for sure.
Yes,
I think combining the music with the visuals and the makeup, I think it is going to be a very pleasing house in those aesthetic senses, where I don't think it's necessarily going to be the artistically pleasing house, but it aesthetically pleasing. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
I think it's a fine number 5 choice. I think, you know, and again, this is hype. We don't know. It's
a hype list. I'm trying not to get too excited for it, because I think if I get too excited for it, I don't want to be disappointed by the house. And I think just putting it right in the middle, I'm like, you know, I have high hopes. I don't think that Universal's going to drop the ball on something that was so popular. So
yeah,
I'm very excited for it. I am very, very excited for that house. Okay. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Evil Dead Burn, because I haven't seen the movie yet.
Same.
Here's my thing with Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, because they're fun and campy. Because the first movie, you know, it was so low budget that it was meant to be like really scary, and because it was so low budget, it kind of came across a little bit silly at times. Even though I don't find Evil Dead 1 to be silly, I try to take it as seriously as it was meant to be. But then they totally flipped the script, and you know, Bruce Campbell is the best. And, you know, and you have Ash versus Evil Dead, the show. And then when they started the reboot, when they did Evil Dead Rise last year, or not last year, but a few years ago, I saw that and it was okay. Fine. Yeah. I kind of don't really remember much. I
remember an elevator.
Yeah.
And a kitchen sink.
But like, to me, it's like, it's just not what I like about Evil Dead.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this could be really scary, and I'm really hoping it will be.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a house too. When it's a house that it's based on a movie that is something that possibly the majority of people haven't even seen yet, you have to make it that it's memorable in some other way.
I don't think they were quite banking on not as many people seeing this movie as ended up not seeing this movie. But no. Okay, so I will say this movie, this is my number 2. And the movie is a flop. However, Ramon Perdoa is the director who previously worked on El Artista. So there are also lots of descriptors for this house that describe going through a house to escape the Deadites. And I do believe with Ramon directing this house, and given what he has done in the past with El Artista, I do think that's what made it shoot up on my list. I was like, Ramon, house, okay. We just got El Artista last year. And he, I think, is such a visionary that I'm getting vibes of like Insidious as well. But given
that was my vibe.
So I think this one could be a sleeper surprise, even though the movie might not be as much of a hit. I think that given the talent working on this house, it's not going to be subpar. So that it is my number 2. But number 4, I'm going to move on to. My number 4 is actually Jack and Oddfellow, Chaos and Control.
No way, Joey!
Yes.
Are you crazy?
No. So I'm optimistic because Charles Gray is the director who did Goblin's Feast in the past. I mean, I loved Goblin's
that
Feast.
One.
And that one was pretty campy. So yes. Jack and Oddfellow, I think, will have elements of camp, obviously just by nature of who the characters are too. My thing is, I think I'm going to appreciate how special this house feels in terms of what it represents for not only the characters, but Halloween Horror Nights overall. This is a legacy house. This is something that is a history that is, being made and drawn upon for this house. However, at the very end of the day, I just don't think that Jack is scary. I'm sorry. I like him. I generally like him as a character, and I think that he's entertaining.
But are you thinking of Jack from Universal Horror Unleashed Jack? Because that is not Jack.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm thinking of a little bit of Jack from that. I definitely my evenings look like deep diving into the videos and the history of the icons and all this stuff. So I'm pretty familiar with Jack at this point, even though I have not been to a Horror Nights where he's been the icon. And there's just something about him that doesn't scare me. And I
don't find any of them scary. I think it's more about the storytelling that they do is what's getting me so hyped about it. I think, I like the year of Oddfellow when he was the icon, how the storytelling went through all of the scare zones and everything. And like all of their backstory lore, that the fact that they've made this up and it's lasted for 35 years, or not exactly, but you know what I mean? Yeah. For so many years, it's just testament to what Universal does. And I think that it's very special and different from anything else that we will see on this list.
Yeah, I think it's going to be done to a very big scale. I think it's going to be probably, as RuPaul might say, I think they put their into this probably house the most of the originals this year. Yeah. And I'm excited on that sense because I do think that Universal is going to be firing on all cylinders. This one is going to feel very special. I just think personally for me, Jack and Oddfellow just don't really excite me that much as characters. So it's number 4 for me. What's your number 4?
Honestly, I've been kind of like playing around again with my 2, 3, 4. And I think after what you said, I decided to make my number 4 Sinners.
Oh, okay.
I'm still hyped for it. Like, I really think that my 4, 3, 2, they could go any way. It's really just how I'm feeling in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Wait, do we have the same number 3 then? We have the same number 3.
Oh, we have to have the same number 3.
Blood and Guts.
1, 2, 3. Oh,
Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that one. That's definitely my favorite of the originals that have been talked about.
Same.
But I love that whole that shtick, and I think that old timey.
Yes. Cat Lady of Crooked Lane kind of stuff. Like that's the Cat
Lady of Crooked Lane is not an old timey thingy.
Yes, it was. It was like a 70s set, like kind of spooky, campy Halloween setting. And this one,
thinking that it was like a 70s. It felt like a children's book, like a haunted children's book. And it was. They made it into a children's book. No, this is more like kind of like how Bugs. As much as I hated that house because I hate bugs, but like how that was like set in like the 50s in Carrie, and this it just feels like retro. It feels like this might be the theme over in Cabana Bay, like when how they always make Cabana Bay Halloween. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That could be into that, and I think I love a retro, and I love that it's something that people have experienced in the past in different forms, and I haven't because I've only been going since 2021, and I'm just really excited to be a part of that lore too.
I think I think the vibe that I'm getting more from this is because obviously I didn't go to any of the HHNs where this character appeared previously. But
same.
It does actually scream more Cat Lady to me because it's set in a similar era, and I think it's the vibe that I'm getting from it is that kind of like analog VHS kind of you think of the plastic orange jack-o'-lantern Halloween bucket kind of thing. That's what I'm getting from this. And the description for this one is: on a dark and stormy Halloween night, your favorite maitre de macabre returns to WKNB with a special scare-a-thon. Tune into a curated selection of HR Blood and Guts' Halloween favorites in this haunted house, complete with ghouls, gore, and all the frights that keep you coming back for more. So yeah, maybe actually this is the Camp House's year.
Maybe.
I think it could be.
It could be. I mean, kind of like how the slasher film, what was oh my gosh, from 2 years ago, the one with all the movies. You know what I'm talking? The house with all the movies. Slaughter Cinema too. Kind of how like that was like kind of campy too.
Oh, I liked Slaughter Cinema. Yeah,
I love Slaughter
was
Cinema,
fun.
but I feel like it could be like
zombie strippers.
Like even though like it was kind of like had like some kind of like horrifying things in there, I think it could still be the campy house.
Ramon also is directing this one. So that's going to be very cool, I think. And I just think that this also makes me think of the one thing. My point of concern with this year's HHN is I don't think any of these houses so far represent or indicate. Demi, what you doing with your nails?
Nothing.
You're clicking on something?
I was moving my list around a little. Again.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you doing with your nails there?
Sorry, my nails are a little long right now.
That is okay. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually leaving that in now. That was cute. But I think that what is missing this year is those houses that I think just inherently speak to a sense of artistry and wonder right off the bat. I'm not saying that these houses don't have artistry in them because we haven't yet seen them, but immediately I think of things like El Artista, Galkin, Grave of Flesh, the year before that, Monstrous. These houses that just scream that grand artistry beauty that we have expected from Horror Nights, and also leaning into cultural things like Galkin and Monstrous. And yes. We're missing Galkin, that this year. I love Galkin was so much, and I just think that we're missing that this year, and that's the hole that I think needs to be filled this year. And my number one, I think, could come the closest to filling that, and I will explain why in a moment. But I already explained why my number two is Evil Dead Burn, with Ramon and the Insidious vibes, and I think that's so. Your number two, let me guess. Oh, it's like, do you like Ozzy or Jack more?
I feel like.
Are you gonna say it's a tie?
No.
Oh, okay.
I made sure to not tie anything because honestly, if I was gonna tie anything, I would have tied Sinners and HR Blood and Guts.
Okay. So I think you're gonna go with. I think you're more excited for Jack, and
I am.
Yeah.
I like I said, I think that what is so special about Halloween Horror Nights and what Universal does is the original storytelling, and a story that lasts decades. And this is heated rivalry. This is what we've all been waiting for.
That's what HR stands for in Blood and Guts. Heated rivalry, Blood and Guts.
I'm dying.
All the things Jack said.
Because listen, like I said, the year that they had Oddfellow, I was so invested in those storylines. And the storylines, like this wrestling and the stories. And part of it, like Jack was super involved, and to have them go Jack the Oddfellow is exciting.
Yeah, it is.
This
it
is
feels
like
grand. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It literally does feel like the Avengers.
It feels really grand. It feels like a big scale thing. Yeah.
You know how it took them years to tell the story of the Avengers and why it felt really exciting at the end, even though you don't love a Marvel? I know. I sure don't. But you understand what I'm saying, right? It took them a long time so that's why it was so impactful. And that's the same thing with this. It's taking your time with storytelling and doing it with so many details over the years. You can't. For me personally, you can't make it nothing is more exciting than seeing that come to life again. Yeah. And listen, I love Ozzy. I'm not as much as I don't want to say that I am the biggest Ozzy Osbourne fan, because I don't want to come across as as a poser or anything.
It's like you're peeing real hard. Yeah, you're peeing real hard. That's okay. Listen,
I love Ozzy. I think he's so influential. I think he's one of the greatest characters of all time in general, like an icon. And I genuinely love his music. And I genuinely was the huge fan of the Osbournes. And I'm genuinely so excited for this because his music does mean a lot to me and to so many people and to the culture of metal. However, I don't want to make it that I am his number one fan, like how I was with the Wyatt Six house, because I don't want to seem like I have to have a that for each year or something like that. I still love him dearly, but there's people that know way. That's why I said I'm not going to do a video on Ozzy, because there's people that know way more about him than I do. I know a good amount, but I don't know nearly enough like they're like his actual super fans are, you know. So but he is my number 2 because I genuinely do love him, and I am genuinely so excited about it. And it's exciting that I am going to Hollywood for the first time this year, and that they are doing 2 different versions.
Both, yeah.
You know, I think it's like a really great tribute to somebody who really has changed the way music is done for the rest of time. And I think that, you know, it's the same thing with Jack and Oddfellow. Like there's all this influence and storytelling, and it's that, but it's a person that existed in real life that was so influential that, you know.
Yeah, 2 different sides of the same coin, I think, of why those appeal to you. I think that's interesting to hear you talk about that. And you might be shocked by my number 1, but
I guess it's Cannibals?
It is Madlands, Cage Cannibals. That is the one that I'm most excited for, because I must say, I am partial and biased for the originals. I constantly am more excited for the originals than I am for the IP houses. I just have never really connected that deeply with an IP that Universal. Same. Yeah,
But if you look at my list, like Ozzy Osbourne's not an IP, he's a person.
Well, that one is counted as an IP house. He is an intellectual property in his music. Yes, he's an IP house. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jack and Oddfellow technically aren't IP. It's a Universal IP.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm just saying that the reason why I'm saying personally, I am partial to the originals, and I get more excited for the originals because I like the creativity of doing something from the ground up.
I do too.
And Madlands, I think, as much as I loved the, philosophical horror of something like Grave of Flesh, I do love an aggressive house. And Laura Sauls has said that this house is a very bloody house, and director Kim Batts called it, quote, loud, aggressive, and raw. And I like to be throttled by a coaster, and I like to be throttled by a house if you're not getting under in my brain. So Ravaged, yes. I do think that this house also has the most potential to be the aesthetically pleasing, arty house of the year. But the only thing that gives me pause is the director of the house, Matt Flood, is responsible for some houses that weren't necessarily my favorite in years past, including Fallout, Stranger Things 4, and Jason Universe. Now, I know a lot of people like Stranger Things 4 and Jason Universe. I didn't dislike those houses, but they just didn't. I think Jason got overhyped for me. I think the design of Jason was great. But the scares in that house didn't necessarily do it the same for me.
Not even at the end? No. That was so scary.
No, the hallway, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I see the boo hole. I was like, he's coming from there, he's coming from there, he's coming from there.
You must have not had a lot of haze when I could not see a thing in that hallway.
Oh, it was crystal clear for me.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that
it was crystal clear.
One thing can change your entire perspective.
I know. And then I didn't do that house again.
All the time. Oh, that makes me so sad because I'm telling you, it was thrilling. It was like a high. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, they also were hyping that one up last year too, as saying it was super aggressive and relentless. So I just think that the concept to me, and also Laura Sauls did show some concept art for this one too, and the exterior, it's like a dilapidated zoo and the sign is falling down, and the costumes, it's just, this I think is going to be so beautiful. And when you combine beautiful artistry and costumes that are going to be colorful, not like drab, dreary kind of costumes, these are very in-your-face, colorful costumes that are mimicking animal skins. I think that's going to be a really interesting contrast with the bright red blood, gore, and guts, because there's no animals in this. The story is that it is cannibals overtaking a former zoo in a post-apocalyptic world, wearing things that they would interpret how they think the animals would have looked based on what they saw in terms of photography and drawings at the zoo. So you're caught in between this warring factions of cannibals who are wearing things that they never experienced, but are taking on these animalistic. It's going to be a lot of body work and a lot of people embodying these animals in really crazy ways, and also coupled with some really disturbing gore, I think. So, and I think of any of them, this one, that given all of that, has the most potential to be the most aesthetically pleasing to me. And that's why it's number one on my list.
I feel I totally appreciate your points. it's one of those we'll have to see at the end of the day. We'll have to just see it because again, it is funny that I was not the only person to connect this house to that prisoner house a few years ago.
Yeah, I think using the word caged was probably not a good idea because it does recall that one. But...
and I know you didn't do it, but it really, I think if you ask like anybody who's been to HHN within the past 5 to 10 years, they will most likely say that was one of their least favorite houses, unless they really hate wrestling, and then they'll say the Y6 house.
Well, I think we did it, y'all. Let's go over once again. I'll do my list real quick. Demi, you do yours. My HHN 35 hype list is, starting from number 10 to my most excited, is going to be 10, Stranger Things 5, 9, Cybergoria, 8, Hellraiser, 7, Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness, 6, Invasion, Alien Abduction, 5, Sinners, 4, Jack and Oddfellow, Chaos and Control, 3, HR Blood and Guts presents a Halloween Fritacular, 2, Evil Dead Burn, and number 1, Madlands Caged Cannibals.
And mine is number 10 is Cybergoria, 9 is Madlands Caged Cannibals, 8 is Invasion Alien Abduction, 7 is Hellraiser, 6 is Stranger Things 5, 5 is Evil Dead Burn, 4 is Sinners, 4 is HR Blood and Guts. I'm sorry. 4 was Sinners, 3 was, because I kept moving my list around, 3 was HR Blood and Guts, 2 is Ozzy, and number 1 is Jack and Oddfellow.
Heated Rivalry, Blood and Guts.
I'm so excited for Heated.
Same. So many memes this year.
Yeah.
Well, dear listeners, tell us in the comments which houses you are loving or loathing so far, and keep up with Demi and I on socials at Park Peeps Pod, at Magical Hijinx. You know that's HIJINX, and Joey Nolfi sounds like Nolfi on all socials for even more content leading up to HHN opening night in Orlando on August 28th and in Hollywood on September 3rd.
Bye for now, and see you in the fog in just a few short weeks.